Well, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has certainly been making the round in Washington, D.C., meeting with lawmakers. It's a bipartisan effort on the part of those lawmakers, Democrats and Republicans alike, who are interested in reining in Facebook and taking Zuckerberg up on his offer last year at this time to maybe police and regulate his company, to Democratic Virginia Senator Mark Warner, who organized at least one of those meetings. Senator, good to have you.
Neil, thanks for having me.
How did it go?
I think it went pretty well. Obviously, I've known Zuckerberg for some time. Facebook is very aware of, a whole series of bipartisan legislative ideas I have. I wanted him to hear, though, from a variety of senators, some who've got active positions, some who've not maybe been this active in this field, because across the group that we were with last night, there were concerns about content issues, there were concerns about privacy issues, there were concerns voiced about Libra, the new cryptocurrency that Facebook is advocating. And I think increasingly the Facebook leadership realizes that failure to have federal legislation in this space is actually going to hurt them and the whole platform industry in the long run, because as individual countries move on privacy the way Europe does, or on content the way UK and Australia does, or individual states run, and like California has, all we're doing is raising the floor.
So, do you think Facebook has gotten too big for its britches?
I think there's never been companies like Facebook and Google that are of such size and power without any kind of regulatory oversight. I honestly think the FTC $5 billion fine they gave to Facebook a while back was the equivalent, well, the largest fine ever. It was the equivalent of a slap on the wrist, because it was a tiny percentage of the revenue they made in a single quarter. So I'm not yet with some of my friends who want to go straight to breakup. I am concerned, these are global companies, and I don't want to transfer the leadership to Chinese companies, but I do think we need a lot more transparency. We need to have privacy rights protected. We need to increase competition with things like data portability and interoperability. And one of the things we did talk with Zuckerberg about last night, I think there's a real debate about identity validation or authentication. I mean, if we're concerned about some of the horrible, awful things that are posted on these platforms, if you actually had to put your real name or real identity and own those comments, that would be one tool to cut back on some of that activity.
Senator, if you don't mind my switching gears a little bit,
Sure.
We're getting mixed reads out of the administration as to whether Iran was behind these attacks in Saudi Arabia. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said yesterday it looks like they were. The president seemed to be moving in that direction today from the Defense Department. No such conclusions yet. Do you think, and then from the intelligence you have seen, I know you can't reveal everything, that Iran was behind this?
Well, Neil, I heard your earlier guest, and who I thought was very, very thoughtful. I think what we're seeing now is some of the implications of a president that sometimes tweets before he has all the facts. And I think it is appropriate that the intelligence community is taking its time to nail down this case. I do believe that the Houthis didn't have the capability to launch this type of attack. But does that therefore mean it was Iran? Let's let the intelligence community finish its work. But we're going into this with all of the world's leaders coming to New York next week for the UN General Assembly. In a traditional case, if this had been President Bush or even President Obama or President Clinton, we could have gone to the world when we had this evidence, and the rest of the world would accept that evidence, and I think we would have a united front against if Iran took this action. Now it feels like it's us and Saudi Arabia, and as your earlier guest mentioned, this may have been an act of war against Saudi Arabia, but it was not an act of war against the United States. And again, I don't think the president helped his position or our country's position when he was saying he was going to wait to hear from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia before he decided what we should do. I mean, we ought to be acting on our foreign policy for America's interests, not to protect Saudi oil.
I think he was stipulating that to see whether the Iranians were behind it or the Saudis have the wherewithal to see that. Do you think that Tulsi Gabbard has said that he's pimping for the Saudis? What did you make of that?
Well, listen, I'm not going to use that terminology. I do think that one of the things we continue to see from the Saudis is that we sell them some of our best equipment. but their ability to use that equipment in an effective way to protect their own country, or for that matter, they have been so inept at their conflict with the Houthis, is real challenging, really challenging. There's been other attacks against Saudi facilities. They should have had a better defense on and better prepared.
You're clearly right. They were not ready for this one. Senator, always good speaking with you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.